muscles of your breathing system, starting with the diaphragm, following up with the intercostals, and finishing with the accessory muscles. And along with the diaphragm, obliques and abdominal walls or rectus abdominis. Some of them are inspiratory, some of them are expiratory muscles. So we'll be giving them a nice activation, expansion, connection, and that will serve the purpose of enhancing our pulmonary capacities and our, in general, breathing skills. Because breathing, although it's autonomic, it happens without us having to think about it. It can also become a skill when you know how to tweak it and use it in your favor. Since breathing can up-regulate or down-regulate you. And a lot of times we are using breath in an up-regulatory way, so in an activating or even stressing way, without even knowing. And that's the case for 80% of people, including me, on and off, honestly, where the activation of the accessory muscles, chest, shoulder, neck, tends to activate your sympathetic, your fight or flight. And so in order to be very aware and to almost set a default mode for going always to your foundation, to your base, to your diaphragm, thus increasing the rest, digest, and recover parasympathetic tone, then it's almost a must to do tailored exercises like the ones we're doing today, okay? So we're also going to perform 2 breath holds. One pretty much in a couple of minutes, and then another one at the end. And you'll notice an increase along your breath hold time, which is basically accredited to that connection you're going to create and that expansion and that activation that you're going to create in between. So after the first breath hold, we will proceed with that series of exercises, and then you'll have better lung capacities and better mind-body connection at the end of the session. So your breath hold is going to be an indicator of that as it increases in time. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about really quick is the way in which we're doing the breath hold, okay? I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. When I get to 1, exactly at number 1, everybody at unison at the same time takes a deep breath in and holds it for as much as possible. So pack your lungs as much as you can with air and hold for as long as you can, okay? The moment you have to let go of the air, so breathe again, please raise your hand so I know that you're breathing and I can point out, hey, 1 minute or 40 seconds or whatever the time it was, okay? So now we take a mental note of that time and we keep it there for the record so we can compare later on with the second one. Everybody clear with that? Okay, I'm gonna stop my, by the way, I'm gonna put a little music here and set a little music. And no sé si son ustedes los que están conectados, espero que no. ¿Cómo se llama? Okay, bless you. Okay, so I'm gonna start a countdown, friends. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Ready? 1. Nasal or mouth inhale, whichever you prefer. Off we go. "30 seconds in. Good job, everybody. We're almost at a minute. "5 seconds till 1 minute. We just hit the minute. Good job, everybody. That's 105. Good job. Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe in and out. That was 112. Good job. Breathe, breathe in and out strong. Move some air, ventilate for a few cycles. We still have people holding. We are about to hit the 130 mark. 5 seconds away from 130. And this is 130. That's 130 sharp, bro. Ventilate, move lots of air in and out through the mouth. That was 136, bro. 136, thanks. Move a lot of air, ventilate, in and out, strong. We are at 145 currently. Now we are 10 seconds away from 2 minutes. One person still holding. We just hit the 2 minutes. That's it, 2 minutes sharp. Ventilate through the mouth, wide open, move lots of air, or nasally inhale, mouth exhale, whichever you prefer. But the point is that when you hold your breath, CO2, carbon dioxide levels raise, right? And so they accumulate. So when you start breathing again, you have to remove that excess CO2, so you get to baseline again, and we can proceed to go normally with normal gas levels. So for those who finished last, keep breathing for a couple more cycles. And good job, guys. Everyone has that mental sticky note with your time, first time today? Okay, good. Let's now reset. Okay, let's now activate our diaphragm. Yesterday we did it before the cold plunge. Today we're going to go to more extent. We're going to go deeper into the diaphragmatic breathing. So the diaphragm, as you may have heard at some point, is basically the biggest muscle, most important muscle in the breathing system, right? So it basically surrounds your waist, if you will. It's right underneath your lungs, and it basically pulls the lungs downwards as it helps them expand their lower areas. And you've seen the lower areas of the lungs are wider than the rest, than the mid and top, right? So what that tells us is that there's more alveolar content in that bottom. Alveoli being the air sacs with capillaries that absorbs the oxygen into the system. And so what happens with modern breathing pattern, which is unwilling, by the way, it is almost influenced by high demand, fast-paced, thriving societies. That breathing pattern is basically engaging neck, shoulders, and chest, traps, chest. And these are the accessory muscles of breathing. Accessory denotes the nature of these muscles being non-essential. Does that make sense? Accessory is non-essential. They're not the first ones that you should be putting to use. These are optional. These are muscles that we should engage with or use when the rate of ventilation goes higher. So you need more space, you need to bring in more air, then you put them on since they're accessories. Now the base foundational, first option go-to muscles are your diaphragm and your intercostals. Okay, so that's belly breathing and lateral breathing, ribs breathing, if you will. So what we're doing today, again, is starting with the beginning, the foundation, the diaphragm. The diaphragm, as it descends, again, it pulls the lungs down and it expands that bottom third, which basically that's where 40% of the gas exchange takes place. So the let out of CO2 and the intake of oxygen happens. 40% of that process of what your lungs are meant to do, 40% of that process happens in that bottom third. And it turns out 80% of the population, roughly speaking, are not using it, right? So this is just like food for thought and a reconfiguration of the patterns if there's a chance you may have lost it, like I did at some point, and like everybody does, okay? So the point here is to take a nice, strong inhale, and if you guys can look for a second, we're gonna try to lift the block as high as possible. You can just place that block in your belly, thanks. And as the air comes in, as the air enters, we're gonna use that same breathing pattern that we used yesterday to enhance, to maximize that traction power through mouth and trachea. Lift that block as high as possible and hold it at top for 3 seconds. And as you hold, tighten your perineal muscle in between the legs as you're holding to get to the restroom, and push that block up, and now exhale with S sound. There you go. Long, long exhale. Okay. So now when you exhale, you let the block drop as deep as possible. Okay. So on the inhale, you lift it. Go ahead and inhale whenever you get a chance. Inhale, lift it as high as possible. Hold. And as you hold, you keep actually pressing onto your belly as if you're trying to spit the air through the belly button. And now you exhale. 3, 4, 5 times longer than the inhale. That's the ratio pretty much. Okay. There you go. Back to your next inhale. Belly up, block up as high as possible. Hold, tighten your perineal muscle as if you're holding to get to the restroom. Tighten that area. And now start dropping that block as high as possible. Release that perineal tension, just relax. And now you're pushing onto your obliques and rectus abdominis to squeeze that air out and drop that block as deep as possible. Now back to your next inhale. Nice, very well controlled, everybody. I see all bellies raising, really well controlled, targeted on that area. Drop it now as deep as possible. Excellent. And that's one form of diaphragmatic breathing that accentuates every aspect of it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going for a couple more breaths. So the benefits of activating your diaphragm, besides opening up to more air reception or more oxygen reception or more oxygen diffusion, that'll be the right term, is the downregulation qualities of the vagus nerve, which is actually innervating or connecting or plugged into your diaphragm. So when you use your diaphragm, you're sending that signal to the brain that's helping you to downregulate, which is lowering your heart rate, first of all. And by lowering your heart rate, your muscles will relax more, and blood flow will be very even throughout the whole body, including the digestive system, in which when you are in fight or flight or in sympathetic, it gets restricted. Now it gets restored. So fully functioning at a very good cruising speed, cruising altitude when you're in parasympathetic. Again, you're activating your rest, digest, and recover by breathing with your diaphragm. The mechanism, once again, vagus nerve connecting diaphragm with brain, telling the brain, hey, we're pulling off this string to let you know that we're good and we need those feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters. Now you proceed to slow our heart rate down, to relax our muscles. That's great, improve circulation. So that's what we achieve. And this is exactly what free divers do before they take that last breath in and dive deep or hold their breath at surface for a long time, because they want to have that heart rate as low as possible so they can last as much as possible underwater. So it is a great form of downregulation, whether it's before an uncomfortable conversation or a presentation or holding your breath or just for mindful moments at home. This is great. Recovery after exercise, etc. After surfing. Good job, friends. Now, let's drop or put those blocks aside and form teams of 2, and I believe you're all even. So you can just pick a buddy, pick a partner, and what we're going to do now, there you go, back there, you guys can choose which one you want to work with. What we're doing, guys, now, let me just tell you something very interesting that I found very interesting, and it should be. The lungs are not muscles, right? They are organs, and they are organs that serves as treatment plants and containers for air. So as the air comes in, the lungs, what they do is they take in the oxygen and let out the CO2. That's basically what they do. And so for the lungs to be able to inflate and deflate, to expand and contract, they rely, on their own, they cannot do it, right? They rely on the muscles around it, or them, because we have 2. So the diaphragm, again, being the main one, then the intercostal muscles on the sides and back, and some front as well. And finally, the accessory that I mentioned. So what the diaphragm does, picture this. The diaphragm does is expand the bottom. The intercostals in between the ribs, intercostal. Costal is in Latin, costilla, costella is ribs, so in between the ribs. Expand the ribs so the ribs can pull the lungs out, because they're, they're merged with a layer called the pleura, and of tissue, that's the pleura, and there's fascia and whatnot. So as you expand your ribs, you expand your lungs, not only sideways but back, And finally, the accessory muscles, what they do is they lift the top of the lungs higher. So in all directions and dimensions, you are expanding your lung capacity as those muscles are active and engaged. What happens again in a lot of people, especially the diaphragm, is inert, is, how can I say, dormant, is lazy, you know, because a lot of us get used to breathing here, right, on the top, shallow breath. Happens in a lot of cases. Again, said to be 80% of worldwide population, you know, especially in the countries that are fast-paced, right? So when we set the right order, we feel benefits and we feel different. So now let's strengthen the intercostals. We just gave that diaphragm a nice activation and even strengthening. Can you guys, could you feel how when you're exhaling, especially, you feel a little bit of abdominal tension as if you're almost doing a little bit of abs? So yeah, the obliques and the abs also get a workout because they are pushing, they're you know, contracting to let the air out. As the diaphragm descends to let the air in, those muscles push. So you get a nice core activation as well. All right. So now we're going to keep going up and exercise those muscles. For that, sorry if you're getting too relaxed and almost falling asleep, you're going to have to sit now and sit behind your buddy. And what we're going to do, guys, is what we're going to do is we're going to push, okay, onto our friend's ribs firmly, very firmly. I'm just going to show you really quick here, and then you guys get to work. See, like, I'm going to place my hands where his ribs are, and I'm even using my knees. Can you see that, how my knees are pushing my elbows in? So I get even more fulcrum, more of a you know, leverage here. Do you feel that tension, that pressure? Okay, so that's the point. So the point is, since these muscles don't have joints, they don't have the eccentric and concentric faces to be able to exercise, you just have to press from the outside, and now you have to breathe in strong. And can you see my hands kind of moving out a little bit? Shoulders down, press, and exhale. One more time. Can you see the expansion taking place, visually taking place, where my hands are? There we go. That's it. So now what we're doing is we are keeping our bellies from doing the diaphragmatic thing. We just keep it neutral, okay? Keep the belly neutral. Tuck your chin down a bit to remind also that the shoulders shouldn't be also shrugging, so you want to keep them down, so all energy by default, mechanically speaking, drives to the center. All that air goes to the center. And be sure that you are very emphatic on that inhale, so those hands can palpate, can feel that expansion even more. So the person pressing can feel how physiology works for both by palpating. Then you guys switch, and then you both get an idea and a feel, sensation. Let's do it. Let's do 5 rounds of it. Yeah, be sure you are very firm on that pressing of the ribs, like very firm. Very firm, like you almost want to break those ribs. 3, 2, and 1. Inhale strong. Let's use the mouth since we have more traction power. Exhale fully and faster than before. There we go. Press hard. Guys, inhale strong through the mouth. There you go. I see that expansion, Rachel. Nice. I see those ribs expanding. Great. And right away, maybe 2 seconds, hold and exhale. Shoulders down, belly in. All energy goes to the ribs. Very good. Well done. 2 more breaths. And you guys just, you know, in this last 2 breaths, just press in some more, harder. There we go. 1 more breath. Last one, guys. And then we'll switch. I know the arms got a workout. I know. I know. The deltoids especially. Good job, everybody. Now, you guys pressing from behind. Were you able to feel that expansion on the muscles and the ribs, guys? Yeah? Okay. Hold on until everybody is in place. Just get in place. Don't press. Don't press yet. Okay, I'm gonna count down. 3, 2, 1. Press and breathe. More emphatic inhales. Make them sound like a vacuum that's like fully powered. There we go. Again, we're helping each other to strengthen those muscles, guys. That's the only way we can strengthen those muscles. It could also be done by a corset, you know, of sorts, or wrapping yourselves around with exercise bands and breathing. 2 more breaths, because I know the deltoids got to work out and they may start feeling a bit tense. 1 more. Last one, fully in strong. And we are good. Nice, guys. Good job. You can feel it, right? Nice, nice. That's the point, is to be able to really palpate and feel through somebody else's physiology how our physiology works. In this case, mechanically speaking, those ribs are expanding. And by the way, we have 2 layers of those muscles in between the ribs. We have a layer for inspiratory and a layer for expiratory, or for expiration, inspiration, so inhaling and exhaling. So this guys right here serves the 2 purposes, while these guys right here, there is one that serves this purpose, that's the diaphragm, and a set of 2 or 3, if you will, rectus abdominis and obliques, that serves the squeezing role. Now up here, you can also say that all this musculature, the sternocleidomastoid and the pectoral and the trapezius, they'll help you to pull the top of the lungs up, and as you just drop it, it'll press again by gravity. Okay, it'll press onto those ribs.
So the rib expansion isn't just the lungs pushing the ribs out; the ribs themselves are pulling themselves out.
The muscles in between the ribs, are engaging and pulling the ribs out, and they bring the lungs with them. So because the lungs on their own cannot do that, because they just don't have muscle tissue.
Is that like the exterior of the intercostals and then the
exterior? Yeah. And so because one again expands, the other one squeezes. You know, very interesting. When I started reading about this, I'm like, okay, I thought it was all like through here, not really like here. You know, I thought it was all through the windpipe, and definitely there's muscles involved in breathing, all from the mouth itself and the lips, all the way down to the abdominal areas and the diaphragm.
Almost like there was intelligent design.
Almost, I would say, for sure. Yeah, it's amazing. So the last of the 3 stages on the 3-part breath is the accessory muscles. And I like to denote that importance again. These are the muscles you want to engage when you're exerting a physical exercise. Other than that, you should keep them quiet, because all of what they do is, well, besides expanding more and adding more to the container, adding more space, they have closer connection with sympathetic activation, with your fight or flight. You can see when people, it's, panting, or they're scared, or they're stressed, is all up here, right? Yeah. You don't see somebody going, oh, I'm so stressed out. They go, man, and so you can note that. And I mean, it's okay if you're really just needing more air, and then you start here always, but then you keep going all the way up, right? So you use the whole spectrum. But when you're always up here, then you're just tapping into, you're activating sympathetic, even at small doses, you're releasing cortisol and adrenaline without even knowing. And then sometimes people feel anxious, I feel stressed, I feel like I'm about to have a panic attack, and a lot of it could be addressed to those patterns, along with other factors, of course, right? Like nutrition. Like when I eat a lot of carbs, I tend to feel a little more, how can I say, hyperactive, if you will. When I start my day with more proteins and healthy fats, I'm a little more mellow, I'm a little more. So nutrition also plays a role, but breath can do a lot for you too. So next one, we can just all sit on the bolsters, and I'm just gonna sit on my block right here.
Are you talking about distributed?
Yes.
I'm trying to connect the connection.
Okay. And so this is the third and last stage, where again, visualize how shrugging your shoulders and tilting your head back towards the end, especially towards the end of that inhale, which pretty much starts here, right? You can start feeling it here, that suctioning, and then you just keep moving up as you expand more. At the end of it, you'll have the top of your lungs expanded more upwards, and then you just drop everything before exhaling, so that mechanical pressing down by gravity of letting those muscles rest will squeeze the air a bit. Hold for 3 seconds. Roll your shoulders back, so puff up your chest, and then exhale, okay? And then exhale. So let's do it at the count of 3, 2, 1. Good, next one. Okay. There's a nuance on that hold that I'll explain in a little while. Drop shoulders, puff up your chest, air still inside. Do 3 more of those, okay? Nice, feel all that expansion upwards, right? 1 or 2 more breaths. Feel that nice pressure around your chest. Let's throw in 1 more for good measure. Good job, everybody. There is a chance we may feel a little bit lightheaded. It's normal with this one because we're getting closer to the neck and head.
It literally feels like when I release my shoulders, like a balloon is like built up pressure and needs to release.
Nice, nice. I think that's a sensation I also notice, and what we meant to feel is that right here, right? Like you almost become like a King Kong of sorts for a couple of seconds, like all this pressure here. So again, we just gave the whole lungs capacity a nice activation from the outside. We pulled them downwards, we pulled them sideways, pulled them back, pulled them forward, pulled them upwards. So we're also expanding. It's like stretching the lungs. Didn't you feel at the end like you just gave your lungs a nice stretch? And so those tissues too that can get a little bit, stagnant, they're like moving. They're moving again, and so they're flexible, And it's the same thing that happens with the arteries, the hardening of the arteries when we're talking about sauna yesterday, that you prevent heart disease by just, dilating. And that's the same with exercise. Well, not the same, but it's similar, right? When you sweat, blood pressure increases. There's heat in the body. You're sweating. There's vasodilation. It's great. And then you top it off with an ice bath later on. Squeezes. Then it dilates again. So you're giving your vascular system a nice squeeze and relaxation to prevent, in the long run, hardening of those arteries. Same with the lungs. The lungs, you're just giving them a nice expansion and a nice squeeze as you let all that air out, fully out, and then go back to your next inhale, expand again. So guys, what we're doing now, putting those 3 breaths together into 1 deep breath. That's the real deep breath. It comes from the depths. It starts in the very bottom, and then it goes all the way up. So I'm gonna place myself sideways for you guys to notice how I go from belly to chest, okay? And then you guys are gonna do the same thing maybe 5, 6 times, and then we're going to proceed to do the second and last breath hold, and you're gonna notice. So remind for a second your first time, and now we can compare and see the increase in time. But this is it, full deep breath. I'm gonna leave the belly for last. You should do the same thing. One more. All right, so did you see it moving almost like a wave? Like a stadium wave. But with the difference from a stadium wave that when the crowd stands up, stays up, kind of, right? And then it goes back down, all of them. So let's do that 6 times. And guys, let's actually, why not, start with a couple only from the mouth on the inhale. Then a couple only of those. And then we switch to nasal. And then we just do... Okay, exhale always through S sound, mouth S sound. Okay, a couple of mouth inhales as well, then all nasal inhales, and keep the exhale always through the mouth. Okay, and then from that we're gonna transition into the second and last breath hold. Okay, for which I'm gonna pass by with a little lavender oil as well. I'm gonna drop lavender oil in your fingertips so you guys can rub your ears and maybe just just kind of get a little lavender around your nostril areas. And all right, 3, 2, 1. Belly, ribs, and chest. Set my stopwatch. Okay, bro, extend your index finger on your right hand. You can rub the back of your ears, and then maybe just finish with a little bit of your chin. And Andrew, there you go. Terry, yes, right here as well. All right, friends, back of the ears and a little bit of nostrils maybe, and right around there you go, chin, the neck, the nostrils. Now nasal inhales. Belly, ribs, and chest. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to remove the bolsters. You don't have to move, please, because I want you to stay as still as possible. I'm just going to ask you in a little while to just gently lift your head a little bit, and then I'll remove the bolster so you guys can be, that's it. You guys can be totally neutral. I'm gonna go one by one so you don't have to move. I want you to stay really still. There you go. Because we are now working for the heart rate to be very low. So the more still we are, the better. Okay. Thank you. The more neutral we are, the better. And we can just, there you go. Shavasana is probably the best pose. And now I'm gonna start a countdown, and you guys, Andrew, thank you. You guys, on this second and last breath hold of today, we're going to use visualization technique. So you guys can just picture yourselves vividly surfing, doing something you love, anything from swimming, from dancing, from, I don't know, anything that moves you, something you've been working on that you like to achieve in any like hobby, sport, or art form. Go deep into that vivid image of yourself performing to your best version. That's one thing you can do while holding your breath. Another thing is counting seconds very slow in your head. You can also visualize being at your happy place, walking at a beach somewhere. There's many ways. Positive self-talk. I am strong. I am powerful. I am relaxed. Okay, so a couple more breaths, and then I'm gonna actually count down from 10. And as I count down, I want you guys to sigh a few times. And I want that last breath to be the deepest breath of your life, so you can really gather lots of air, pack your lungs as much as possible, have those oxygen tanks filled to the brim so you guys can hold for a longer time now. Let's sigh all together. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deepest inhale of your life. Let's go. And off we go, guys. Visualize. Body scanner from head to toes. Release any muscle tension. Soften your facial muscles, your neck, your chest, your shoulders, your forearms, your hands. Relax your thighs, your knees, your calves, your feet, your back. 30 seconds in. Time is flying. You guys, make yourselves as relaxed as possible. There you go. Time is flying. Good job, guys. Almost at 1 minute. You can always go longer than you think. Your physiology is amazing. 1 minute in. That's good. That's good. 105 actually. Let's keep going. You guys are looking very relaxed. And this is 120. Good job. Let's breathe in and out. 125. Breathe strong in and out for those who are breathing now. And we still have 3 people holding. We are at 136, almost 140. Getting close to 2 minutes, guys. We're 10 seconds away from 2 minutes. That was 150. 150. And Rachel, that was 2 minutes. Good job, everybody. Everybody did great. I'm not sure. Maybe you can do the math. Let's breathe in and out strong, Rachel, and everybody, just for a few more cycles. Not sure if you increased or not, but most of you did, I believe, increase on the second breath hold. Increase your breath hold time, but maybe take a few seconds and do the math. And I'm gonna go one by one, and please tell me how many more seconds you increased, and if not, what was the difference between the first and the second one. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of seconds to do that math. You can actually raise your hand if you're ready and just tell me.
10 seconds to myself.
10 seconds. 30 seconds. 30. Nice. 10 seconds less. Oh, interesting. Okay. 48 more. I saw that.
30 less.
30 less. That's crazy. I know. I was like, what happened?
Well, no,
There may be a reason why, yeah.
well, yeah. I didn't set myself. I was like.
You were gone in the last breath. I mean, not every breath hold is perfect. And sometimes we wish we could have got more air in on that last breath. Or we wish, a given thought we wouldn't have let it come and invade our aura, because thoughts will come and try to set you off of concentration. That also happens. It happens to me, it happens to everybody. Breath holding is a psychological, spiritual experience because there's thoughts coming in. And some of those thoughts are produced by the mind, of course, but I believe some of that is spiritual too, like maybe fears, will come in and try to because discomfort will always somewhere tie to a fear, right? And so, but it is an exercise that you can just keep doing until you master it. And, a lot of the free divers, breath holders that are exceptional these days, they've gone through all of it. They've gone through, disappointments on their own, like, I thought I was going to. It's very normal. But the very first one, anything after a minute on the very first one is a really good baseline for lung capacity. By the way, lung capacity is one of the bioindicators for good health and longevity. Lung capacity. And this is what we're working on today, is lung capacity. As much as you do the VO2 max test and the grip strength and the functional movement patterns or screening, or your resting metabolic rate, or glucose levels, fasted glucose levels, heart, blood pressure, constant blood pressure. There's lots of things. Quad strength. Well, lung capacity is one big key marker for longevity and good health. And I believe 1 minute baseline is really good, and then you can just keep working on it. And Rachel, that was really nice. 2 minutes on your second one. I saw that you were like, the diaphragm. Her diaphragm was engaging, like moving on its own. Yeah, Carrie did a really good one too, very close. So very, very, yeah. So guys, breath holding for a few seconds until not letting it go to the discomfort. Breath holding will slow your heart rate down. Do you know that? Because when you're holding your breath, your body automatically goes, okay, we got to preserve. We got to preserve oxygen. We got to preserve ourselves. So the body kind of starts disconnecting areas in order to stay in that state longer. So breath holding for a few seconds is a very relaxing practice. Friends, maybe we can wrap it all up and sum it all up into a home exercise that will last, no more than 7 or 8 minutes. And if you like to stay laying, that's fine. If not, you can sit, but I can stand so you can all see me. So if you want to incorporate something like this for home routine or anywhere routine, it only takes a few minutes where you can just do diaphragmatic breaths for 1 minute or 2, 3 minutes, whatever you please, but 1 minute minimum of on your own. If you don't have a yoga blog, maybe you have a book. If not, you can just use your hand in your belly and press, right? And feel how that raising of the belly, that protruding of the belly goes against that pressure from your hand, which brings about, strengthening of that diaphragm muscle. As deep as possible. Keeping those shoulders relaxed and that chest down, relax, okay? 1 minute of that, minimum. 1 minute on your own of intercostal so you can brace your own ribs with bare hands. Press. 1 minute of that. 1 minute of accessory muscles. Not to say 2 or 3 minutes on each face, but 1 minute minimum. That'll be 3 minutes. Then 1 more minute of 3-part breath. Belly, ribs, and chest, right? Pack your lungs fully. Exhale. Belly at last. That's 4 minutes. And then maybe prepare for a breath hold. Maybe breathe, just tidal breath or just diaphragmatics for another minute. And take that deepest breath of your life. And hold. Start your stopwatch. Relax. And just, why not? Push it, push it, push it. Hopefully you're laying somewhere not near any sharp objects. You're at your sofa, bedroom, carpet, or mat. And just push it. And when you feel the urge to breathe, obviously, make sure you recover with some nice, wide, big, broad breaths, okay? And that's it. It won't take you more than 6-7 minutes, and you'll walk out the door with something else in your favor. More activation of the autonomic nervous system, more activation of those areas for breathing. If you were to put the same you next to you, like a copy of yourself, and you will go about, say, a hike or a run or a bike ride, or even a race, you'll see that the version of you that did the previous breath work will perform better, will make better decisions most likely, will endure longer, and will just feel more connected to what he or she are doing. So I hope this whole thing, serves a purpose and that you guys, can grab some tools. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to add or ask, please, let's do it. Q&A is open from now, and just waiting to hear from you. If not, I assume that you guys are delighted, that you're happy with what the practice was. you know, regardless of the second breath hold not being your best personal, we're gonna keep going. Remember, guys, we have the pool training. We have pool training, and that's gonna be another chance to keep building and keep.
Let's do another breath hold, Adrian.
Yeah, why not, bro?
Alright.
Yes, yes. Pool training.
But if
But
we
you
get
have
to
done
this
that
one,
with us in the
we
past,
do
no?
a little-
Oh, okay. Well, it's just swimming and underwater dumbbell carry. So basically, and then we finish with static breath holds at the end. So we bring it up in intensity, and then we just bring it down towards the end. I'll count you down. You guys, please be neutral, completely neutral if you can. So yeah, like that's better because you're not using any musculature. You're just like melting on the mat, yogis say. So yeah, so long exhales with S sound. Remember, that'll bring your heart rate down. Good job. That was very nice. Girl, you're too sharp. That's crazy. I saw your diaphragm like moving, and that's autonomic. That's your own. The need to swallow. The need to swallow is very normal. That's the first thing. It's part of the same body. Just like, hey, let's breathe. You know. That's really nice. That's really nice. All right, boys. I'm gonna count down. I want you to take the deepest breath of your life at 1. And just proceed to body scan. Okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pack your lungs fully. Off we go. Yeah. If you feel a little bit of pressure right now, just give yourself some time. Do not exhale at all. Keep the air with you. And that pressure sensation will stabilize sooner or later. Relax your facial muscles, your neck, your shoulders. Relax your arms, hands, thighs, waist, thighs, knees. 30 seconds in. Relax your calves, your feet, your hands, your ankles. Relax your mind. Time is flying, boys. Soon to hit the minute. All right, we just passed the minute, so we're doing great. Stay strong and stay relaxed as well. Remember, discomfort is a good friend. You can always go longer than you think. You tell discomfort, thanks. Thanks for being with me. You're making me stronger. And we are at 1:30, friends. And let's keep going. It's just a little discomfort, and they'll be, there you go. That's 133, brother. 133. Yeah. Good. 130, 142. I didn't know you were holding too. That was a good time. 142. 143 actually. 133, 133, 143, and we are 5 seconds away from 2 minutes. We are 5 seconds away from 2 minutes. Just hit the 2 minutes a little while ago, actually. We're 2:05 currently. And third time's a charm. And we are heading towards 2:30. We are 10 seconds away, bro. .230 sharp. 2:30 sharp. That's good. Breathe. Move a lot of air. Ventilate some more. Good thing you guys went for the third one because I know how it feels. I also want to get that off my head and got to do it again. Good job, boys and girls. Good job. So that's it. Breath hold with the protocol of international high level, if you will, free diving with the previous activation and some physiology, philosophy. Good job. And we're gonna keep going with the pool training and the next.
We'll do breath work in the pool.
Yeah, we're gonna do breath holds in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's whenever I did it when we were swimmers. Like we used to do it
Just
on the
like,
water.
or just like lay dead in the water, like,
Uh-huh.
no moving.
Yeah. And that's exactly
And
what.
I think I pushed close to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, but I was also super young.
You know what? The water has the components of the mammalian dive reflex activation, which you in essence activate just by holding your breath in dry land. But when you add water, it gets even better. The mammalian dive reflex, or the marine mammal instinct, and that's the same physiological traits that orcas and whales, because orcas are technically dolphins, right? Dolphins, whales, manatees, sea lions, all marine mammals go through. When they go underwater, of course, they can stay longer than us, but their heart rate slows down immediately. Same happens with us. When we hold our breaths, unless we're being strangled or tumbled by a wave, then yeah, exactly. Our bodies go to parasympathetic because of a self-preservation mechanisms we all have. So, the more you do it, just like the breath holds, the more you increase your time because the more you dig into that reflex. Second trait is peripheral vasoconstriction, especially in water. The blood retreats, goes
The water pressure on you.
also, and goes into the heart, goes into the brain too, to provide for more oxygen, so vitals can be preserved. And then finally, you have the spleen contractions. The spleen releases more red blood cells, so you have more oxygen available to keep absorbing, to carry and absorb. Very interesting stuff. And so that's where you credit your adaptations to. It's the same with brown fat activation and cold exposure. So yeah, the pool training is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be a relay within your own team. Is going to be a relay, and then against the other team is going to be a contest. So it's going to be it's going to be fun. Something tells me whichever team has the Aussie is going to have a big chance to lead because of a swimming culture.
Make you different down
I feel like Jillian and Colin have very good.
Swimmers?
Well, they're
Yeah.
both super runners.
Yes.
Jillian is like a
Yeah.
competitive runner.
Who's that?
Jillian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she raced at college.
Look at that.
She
That's
was,
awesome.
Sub 6 minute mile.
Holy
Marathon.
moly.
What?
Yeah, sub 6 minute for half marathon.
I mean, she's.
Holy moly, bro.
Yeah, she was she's like, oh, we used to run in Arizona, like in the afternoons.
Sub 6 miles.
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
marathon is
She's like
insane.
110 degrees
Oh, I don't
and you're
know.
running
No,
outside.
I think
was like, no freaking way.
So sauna for her was like,
she would, I
okay.
think she could do a mile.
I'd sub 6. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
still
but
big.
she's running like
Oh no.
subs, like right around
Dude,
She said she was running, like,
I struggled to
six-
break 4 hours.
6 something.
It was like
she did like a
Herculean.
sub 7 minute full half marathon. She's like, I was like, that's
That's-
Some people are almost like made or born for that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can
You can
her
tell she-
physiology is
Uh-huh.
yeah.
She's
I'm lugging around
she's
20
like
pounds
made of
abs.
balsa wood.
That's good for
I'm like
that's
made
good,
to be
that's
a,
good for
a Greek-
surfing.
a Greek fisherman.
Or wrestler.
Yeah.
Or wrestler,
I was never, I wrestled when I was a kid, like club.
Uh-huh.
I never did.
Yeah, wrestling is
Football, basketball.
Nice.
No, basketball, no. Football, baseball.
football, baseball. Nice.
But now in adulthood, you get to pick your sports.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the one.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's please, if you don't mind.
Yeah, this is just a blouse.
Oh, yeah.